How much do Dorper sheep cost? I get that question all the time. And before I start the video, I just want to say it varies, okay? So I'm going to go off of my experience, what I've learned, what I've seen, what others in my direct circle of Dorper friends have seen. So know that it varies. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have an idea of how much Dorper sheep cost. Let's get to it. I wish these sheep would come out and graze. It would be a prettier background for us to talk about Dorper sheep prices. But most of the sheep are in the barn, which I can't blame them. It's not a cool day today. So, what do Dorper sheep cost? Well, the first thing that you've got to realize is that there's... Sorry, lamb, I'll get out of your way. Is that there's full blood, purebred, and commercial. So I'm going to have a separate video about what all that means later, but for the time being, I'm going to start with my experience with full bloods. Full blood is the most expensive and the most Dorperish Dorper you can get. So let me just share my direct prices. I'm an open book. This ewe back here with the stripe across her head, she is one of my original in a trio. So I had her and her twin sister and a yearling ram that came to me, all full bloods with paper. Full blood basically just means that they came, or that you can directly trace their lineage on both sides to South African stock. Her sister, and a decent ram, not the best ram in the world, but you know, he could breed and he's a full blood. Those three were $2,000. And as I've looked around, I've actually haven't found anybody cheaper than that. So in my opinion, I got a pretty good deal for what we're going for. And then the other purchase that I have made, let me walk back here, she's outside now. This ewe that's right in front of me, she came to me with twin rams last year for $750. This one that's closest to me. So I bought her for $750. It came with two rams, and my first trio I got for $2,000. So I've put in $2,750 into my stock. Okay, so you might be asking, well, what's the price per sheep? Well, I paid $750 for her, and she came to me with two lambs. She is a terrific mother. Her lambs are always the biggest, plus she twins her triplets every year, which is pretty sweet. But she's a little bit taller than this girl next to us. This girl next to us kind of displays more the conformation of a traditional South African flock. Both are full bloods. Whoa, look at that. She's back off, girl. Which I'm actually kind of happy to see, because she's older and this younger ewe tries to get her way a lot, and she's kind of a brat, so I like to see her get put in her place sometimes. Okay, so how much do they cost? A good full blood or purebred ewe is going to cost you between $500 and $1,000. If you're going to a show, you could expect to see many ewes 4 digits or higher per ewe, okay? I'm going to talk about commercial at the end of this video, but I'm just going to stick with full blood and purebred prices. If you want a good ram, expect to be paying over $1,000 for that ram. Much more for a championship bloodline. So I'd say if you want a good ram, expect to be paying at least $1,000, maybe even up to $2,500 for a good ram, which is kind of like show quality ram. Not winning a show, but good quality ram. If you want a championship bloodline, you're going to be paying over $3,000. Actually, you're probably starting at closer to $4,000, $4,500 for a good championship ram. So just know that. You might think that sounds expensive, but a ram is half of your flock, so it's really not that bad, depending on how many how many ewes you have that he needs to cover. If you only have 4 or 5 ewes, well, it might not make sense to buy, you know, the best ram at the show that year. All right, so let's talk about some other prices. Let's talk about these little lambs. So most of my lambs that I got this year are rams, because that's always how it goes. Whatever you want, that's not what you get. I wanted more ewes. But let's say you wanted one of these feeder rams. Well, these are about a month old right now. No, these are my youngest ones. These are less than a month old. But let's say at sometime in their 3rd month, we want to wean them. How much does that go for? Well, like all things, it varies. So I'll give you the full blood price. Which full blood, full bloods aren't meant to 100% be meat sheep. You want them for breeding stock, right? But nevertheless, not every ram gets to be a stud one day. A lot of them go to the into the freezer. And so how much do those cost? Well, your bottom end of the price there will be about $150, maybe to $250. If it's a commercial one, you could maybe find one for $100 on there that you would have to raise out and then process on your own. Okay, commercial stock. So what is commercial stock first? Well, first of all, I've got a video that talks more about that in depth, but basically a commercial stock is something you can't register. It doesn't have papers. It's not a full blood. It's not a purebred. It doesn't exhibit the qualities of a traditional, stocky Dorper. So what do those cost? Well, if you want bulk, a commercial stock is quite a bit cheaper than a purebred and definitely a full blood. Commercial stock ewes, expect to pay between $300 and $600 for those. If they're rare and it's a particularly hot market for those, maybe it could go up a little bit more, but I feel safe to say about 80% of your commercial stock Dorper is going to fall between that $300 to $600 mark. Rams might be a little bit more, but again, if you're breeding, even if it's commercial stock, I would try to find a better ram than a commercial stock ram. Okay, so I get this question more. What do you pay more for? Do you pay more for ewes or more for rams? Well, it depends on a lot of things. By and large, your ram is going to cost more money annually. And a ram is half of next year's flock. His genetics apply to half of next year's crop. So make sure that you've got a good ram. The nice thing is, contrary to popular belief, you can keep the same ram for multiple years. I would say you're very safe with 2 years. A lot of people would say you're even safe for 4 or 5 generations of sheep. So that's okay. That's how you get good bloodlines and genetics. You do breed sires back to their daughters occasionally. All right, so I threw out quite a bit of numbers today. But the answer to how much does a Dorper cost? It depends. For a feeder ram, you could be paying $200. For a commercial ewe, you could be paying $300 or $400. For registered great bloodlines, like what I like to think I have, you're going to be at least paying, $600, maybe even close to $800 or $1,000 for a registered ewe. If you want a registered ram that's worth its salt, you're going to be shelling out 4 figures for sure. Maybe even as much as $3,000 to $5,000 for that. So be aware, these are quality sheep, and they are good for small timers and as well as big commercial flocks. So budget wisely. Do what makes sense for you. To me, it's worth it for my situation. To others, it's not. Okay, that's it from me today. Thanks for watching the High Mountain Homestead, and I will see you on that next video.